Hey guys, oh gosh, I just realized I didn't get my movies again. I always remember at the end. Hey, I'm here to do my May wrap up. Oh my gosh, I didn't even finish that comment I was leaving. So most of my reading in the month of May was BookTube prize related, as I'm sure you're all extremely surprised. Just kidding, I know you're not. So in May I finished 7 books and 1 poetry magazine. So I'll say 7.5, I guess. I guess everyone's very, picky about what's counting as a book. Anyway, so I will insert a clip of the winner here, because again, I mean, this time I didn't do it. So I'll do that obviously before I upload this video. So yes, congratulations to the winner. Hey guys, so I'm just gonna insert really fast the winner of the giveaway for my April video. I understand that it's September and I'm hopeful that I keep saying, I'll be better, and then things don't change, but a girl can hope. So no one really entered. I just have a few here. And I'm gonna say it's because I rewatched that video and I was not particularly clear that I was giving away the Book of Anna. So this is for the Book of Anna, which was my favorite book in the month of April. Let's see. All right, Joe Smith, congratulations. Yeah, so I'm gonna rewatch my May wrap up and make sure that I'm clear in it, that I'm giving away my favorite book before I actually upload this. But yeah, Joe, you won the Book of Anna. Hopefully you still want it. Yay! So I will go over my books now from least favorite to most favorite. My least favorite book, obviously, is Milltown by Carrie Arsenal. I will link my review of this. I read this for BookTube prize. I really didn't like this. I think I gave it 1.5 stars. I just think I don't think that it accomplished what it was trying to accomplish, and it was not for me. And then everything else is, like, in my opinion, really, really good. So yeah, that's a pretty good ratio, I think. We're just one dud. So the next book that I have is I'm an Old Commie by Dan Lungo. This is translated by Alistair Ian Blythe. And I read this for the Invisible Cities Project. This is a Romanian author. And it is published by Dalkey Archive. So that is the publisher. And yeah, this was really, really interesting. So we're following a woman whose daughter has immigrated to Canada, I believe. And there's upcoming elections. And this is currently happening, like, after Romania is no longer a communist country, so it now there's like elections and stuff, but kind of like in Northern Ireland, I think, where, like, even though the IRA doesn't, like, technically exist anymore, they're still members of, like, I think it's I don't know how to say it. There's the party that, like, still kind of belongs to that kind of group of people with that kind of thinking. So same kind of thing where I think there's, like, a member that is someone is up for election that, like, is part of this old, like, kind of communist regime, I think. And so her daughter calls her on the phone and is, like, basically, like, she's campaigning, or she's calling people and trying to get them not to vote for this person because communism is evil. And so this is kind of this woman whose name I don't remember, Amelia, she kind of, like, looks back at her life and, like, the various things that have happened to her, and looking at the differences between a communist versus post-communist country, and, like, how her life has changed, because for her, life was really, really great when everything was communist, and now that it's not, she's, like, poorer and, like, and so, like, all of this stuff, it's really, really, I mean, it's obviously, I think everything is more complex than we think it is, especially when you have words like communist that just for some reason are very triggering to certain people and make people think, like, oh, like, evil. And yeah, so there's a lot more than just that going on. And so it's really interesting, especially because, you know, her daughter has like these views. And so you see her kind of growing up. I will say, stylistically, it does like bounce in time. And at first I was kind of confused because we start in present day and then it goes back in time to when she was a kid. And I didn't really understand that that's what was happening. So yeah, and it's also kind of interesting because she's like talking about like, you know, maybe things like weren't as good as I thought they were. And yeah, it's just a really interesting look at, you know, how countries change, how people change, how people like things to stay the same, and how people have like trouble with, you know, change. And it's also like pretty funny. There were a couple of instances, actually, now that I'm thinking about it towards the beginning, translation wise, that kind of made me a little confused. I wish that I had tabbed them, but I couldn't tell if the translator was American or British or Romanian, or like where the translator was from, because a lot of the terms and like words didn't like make sense to me. Like it seemed at points like it could be a British person that was translating it, but then at other points it kind of felt like maybe it wasn't a native English speaker that was translating it. It was kind of confusing. It is an English person that translated it, so I don't know. I would be curious to read more books that were translated by him to see if it's like always how his books are, or if it's just something about this one specifically. But yeah, so that is the only book that I finished for the Invisible Cities project for that like month. I've been doing really bad. Then I read the March edition of the poetry magazine, and this is a young people's poetry, and it was really, really good. And I feel like I already talked about this like a little bit, but I did circle quite a few things that I thought were really nice. And by nice, I don't mean that they were actually nice, because they're actually like pretty intense. I don't know what young people's poetry means, but some of these were super, super good. Maybe if I have time at the end, I will read some, but I will move forward now. I will just say that I really liked that, and I'm so glad that I'm finally starting to read those. The next one is Notes on a Silencing by Lacey Crawford. Again, I read this for Booktube Prize, so I'll link my review below. In general, though, I did think this was really well written, and in retrospect, I think of it more fondly, I think, than when I was originally reading it. When I first started it, I just like didn't get it and wasn't getting on with it, and was like, okay, whatever. But it was actually really, really impactful and super good. Then I finished By Night the Mountain Burns by Juan Tomás Ávila Laurel, translated by Jethro Sautar, and this was for Invisible Cities project, but for the month of April. I think this is for Equatorial Guinea, and this is also published by a small press, and other stories. And this was this was really, really good. I'm just so disappointed because I read it so long ago. So the style of the writing for me specifically is like just so good. So good. It's just, you're just listening to a person tell you like a bunch of stuff, and it just kind of goes here, goes there. The paragraphs are kind of long. It's really rambly is maybe not the right word, but you know, it just feels, and I think people were talking about in the Discord group that it feels like, you know, these like tales that are like passed on like from generation to generation. Maybe that's not like the exact verbiage that they use, but it just feels like, you know, an oral kind of tradition of storytelling. And it was really, really, I hate that I'm covering the title. I was like all the way over here in the corner. It was really good. And I would 100% read more things by this author. There is a movie, a documentary about him, but I don't think, at least when I was looking, I couldn't find it like easily available. So I would like to go and see about that. But this takes place primarily on like an island just off the coast of Equatorial Guinea. I'm pretty sure, yeah, remote island off the coast. So, and like all of these, you know, kind of beliefs that they have, and how, you know, there's like the basically, you know, colonizers are coming into their waters and fishing and stealing all their fish, and like they give them, you know, some stuff in return. So there's like these, it's just so good. The one thing that I think is like the funniest thing to me, I mean, funny might not be the right word, but there's a whole like part of this book where he's talking about how there are women that like maybe are witches or are married to the devil or something like that. And so you have to stay away from them, and you know that they are witches or that they're evil or whatever. I read this a while ago, so I don't remember exactly what terms he used, but how you know that is that they have to go into the ocean at night. And like, while I was reading that, I was like, I mean, do these women just have like menopause and no one knows that they have menopause and they're just going into the ocean? Because it kind of made it sound like almost every like woman was kind of getting to that point. But yeah, so it's really interesting to see, you know, another culture and like how, you know, they understand or deal with things. But it's also kind of frustrating because it's a lot of like demonizing of women per usual. But it was really good and really interesting. So I would 100% recommend this. I really liked it. Then I read On Earth, We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong. I think Ocean Vuong. And I read this for my book club. I read it in one day, so I don't 100% remember, but I do remember loving it. It was very lyrical, very poetic. I think that he might be a poet. The further on in the book, specifically when he's talking about a relationship with like a young man, I don't know if they have like a relationship specifically or what, but he's talking about a guy that he like knows or knew, it's like kind of a tragic circumstances, and that part specifically just felt like so raw and so emotional to me that I was just like, oh gosh. But actually what really, really killed me was the relationship with the mom. It was so good. Like, there's just so much in this book, and I really, really liked it, and I thought it was so good. It was so good. Yeah. Oh, I just like read a sentence and I'm about to start crying because I just think his writing is fantastic. Then I have Cast, yeah. The Origins of Our Discontents by Isabel Wilkerson. I also did a review of this. I don't know how good it was because it was a while ago. And for the BookTube price, so I'll link that below. This is just amazing, talking about the caste system in the United States. And yeah, I really, really liked this. And again, like is a bad word. I was not happy while I was reading it. I was mostly upset while I was reading it, but very good. And then my favorite book, and if you want to win a copy, I'm giving away a copy of this. I mean, not this one, but I will give a copy to a viewer, After the Last Border by Jessica Godot. Two Families and the Story of Refuge in America. And I also did a review of this, and I'll link it below. I cried a lot. It was really good. I loved that book. So those are all of the books. Wow, look at me, 12 and a half minutes. Who do I think I am? So I'm not gonna like go into any other things because, or I'll do my movies, my top 5. Let's see. Oh gosh, I watched some pretty good movies. Oh my gosh, I don't even know. I don't even want to talk about these. I'm just too tired. I'll list the movies below. I don't feel like talking about them. I don't know why I'm just so low energy right now. And I have so much to do, so I don't feel like it. But yeah, so let me know if you've read any of these. Again, if you want to enter to win a copy of After the Last Border, please let me know below. And other than that, I will catch you guys another time, hopefully with more energy. I think it's getting a little hot in the room, maybe because of this light that I have on me. That's probably it.